You know, since the beginning of time, there's always been such big leaps in science. Just huge, monumental leaps. And one of the things we've always wanted to do as the human race is create machines in our image. And it's beautiful. It's just such a beautiful concept for us to go beyond what we believe is life and create something. But with every great discovery, and this one in particular, there's always one guy in the back of the room at every conference, at every demonstration, and he always asks the most important question that all of us are thinking about, but none of us really want to ask. But he asks it. Look, I know it washes the dishes. I know it cures cancer. I know it could file my tax returns. But, can we it? And I feel like that question's always going to be asked. And you know what? In some cases, we can. In fact, take this for instance. In an article I came across this week on the Not the Onion subreddit, which is where pretty much all of my content is going to come from, famous sex robot can now refuse sex if she's not in the mood. And you know, thinking about it, that's a really great idea. Except maybe it's not. It's not a good idea. In fact, now that I think about it, the first thing that comes to my mind is, aside from the fear of rejection from other human beings, I'm now afraid to get rejected by my microwave. Let's not go over my fears. Let's get into the story. So, Samantha, a sex android created by Dr. Sergey Santos, has been given a major upgrade. You see, in addition to her sex mode, her family mode, hold on, what is family mode? This is a sex bot. This really shouldn't leave your closet, maybe? If you're bringing it around the kids, I'm getting a little worried. And if you think that worries you too, we've just gotten started on this article. You see, aside from the family mode, you have the romantic mode, the extra naughty mode, and now the dummy mode. You see, the dummy mode is a mode that Samantha drops into when she's not really feeling frisky, when her circuits aren't really buzzing at the time. Except there's one problem with this dummy mode compared to how a normal human would react if they didn't want to have sex. She doesn't fight back. The robot does not fight back. She just moves into a catatonic state. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think this is good training for anybody. I don't think this is really something that needs to exist on a robot. I think we hit the apex of this technology when we had inflatables. And the only other apex we're gonna hit is when we get something like Detroit Become Human. Right now, we're at blow-up dolls with robotic motorized hips and faces. That's actually how they describe it too. She has motorized hips, hands, face, and can whisper endearments into her partner's ear when properly stimulated. Every day we stray further from God. That's where I'm at right now. But we're not really the only ones who kind of noticed this problem. In the article, it stated, this new dummy mode might offer an opportunity for male users to learn a thing or two about consent and respecting one's partners, but there remains one glaring difference between Samantha and real-life women. While she possesses the ability to shut down when she's feeling disrespected, she does not possess the ability to fight back, and there are no repercussions for partners who ignore her protests. In fact, realistic sex robots or sex dolls could actually increase problems already rampant in the modern dating culture. While some believe that sex with a synthetic surrogate could reduce the number of victims of toxic masculinity, there is a very real possibility that they could further blur the lines between sexual objects that look like women and women being used as sexual objects. Okay, but there's actually more. Dr. Santos himself claims that the use of Samantha has saved his own 16-year marriage, as she has provided an opportunity for him to satisfy his sexual urges. I'm gonna, go ahead and step out on the ledge here when I say, if your wife, your wife of 16 years is maybe okay with you sticking your dick into the toaster, I feel like the problems go beyond feeling frisky. Have you actually seen a picture of this sex android? This is some uncanny valley bull. Look at that. That thing is terrifying. Those lifeless eyes. Could you imagine that whispering endearments into your ears while you're trying to hump it? It's not something I actually wanted to imagine. Moving on to our second story of the day, we actually have something kind of positive. This next story actually comes out of a small Spanish town named Estella. And something that really warms my heart is when the community comes together to restore things, just to make things look better, even if it's a church, or, in this instance, a statue of St. George. Needless to say, it looks amazing. bad. That's awful. How did you actually... I guess the artist just didn't really know how pupils work, you know? Because honestly, the rest of it looks decent enough, but the eyes... There's just something about the eyes. I can't really put my finger on it, but I feel like that's what's wrong with the picture. But you know, that's not even the best part of the story. The best part of the story actually involves another story. You see, this isn't the first time a restoration has gone badly. It's what this incident is actually being linked to. And that is the Ecce Homo Monkey Christ. And bear with me, because I know how bad that sounds. So here you have a painting, the original, by Elias Garcia Martinez, which over time has become maybe a little unremarkable. And then they restored it? I'm not really sure what I'm looking at. I feel like after that, if you're going to that church and that's what you're seeing, you have to wonder if you're just there to maybe celebrate the existence of some Lovecraftian being watching us from another dimension. You ever see 30 Days of Night? You know, that's kind of what that looks like. It looks like 30 Days of Night crossed over with that one guy, you know, the real life werewolf, the one with like the hair all over his face. I digress. And you know, that sometimes happens. You know, sometimes you just up when you're trying to improve something. Like I do whenever I try to improve my life. Life restoration. Doesn't really work out the way that I want it to, but I'm still here. That's probably where we should cut off for tonight. I'm gonna give you guys a good night. This is actually my first video, so please, if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and I promise I'll get better at this over time.